Y'all know what? Sometimes friendships are only meant to last for a season. Okay? Not every relationship that you have is going to go the distance. And some friendships are for a reason, some friendships are for a season. And when I tell y'all it looked like the season for Melody and Destiny is up, okay? The season is done. All right. The season is finale. The season is finito. The season is done. It's well done. It's crispy, crunchy. It don't need to be cooked no more. Okay. It don't need to be cooked no more. Because I got coins to make and not friends to fake, baby. And if you got coins to make and not friends to fake, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you guys join in on the chatterization and let us know where you guys are watching from. We're going to be recapping Love and Marriage Huntsville season 4, episode 5, coins to make and not friends to fake. And I guarantee you that was the line that Carlos King was referring to when he was talking about the infamous line that Melody said at the end of episode 5 when he did an interview with Love and Marriage Huntsville fan page on Instagram. Okay, that was the line right there. Now I see all y'all up in the Biz 9E, the Biz 9E tonight. Come on, I see y'all Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Detroit, Tennessee. Come on now. Somebody said she has t-shirts available. Hey, let's go ahead and get them. Accokeek, Jamaica, Tuscaloosa. I see y'all. I see Norcross, Georgia, Maryland. Hey, I knew what it was instantly, baby. I knew what that line was too. I said, that's the one. That's it. That's it. But don't worry, we're going to get into the melody and the destiny of it all. If for whatever reason we have the same issue that we had last time with the StreamYard, I will definitely be hopping right onto my phone to finish this live. Okay, so we're gonna make sure it do what it do tonight. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get this jamboree started, shall we? I think we shall. So first things first, we got Leticia has walked off from Kiki again, from last week. And as I was watching, did you see when Kiki was in the restaurant in the black after Leticia had walked off? She had a whole drink. Now I know from the time Leticia had ran outside, dialing Kimmy's number, shaking as she was. I'm shaking, venting to Kimmy. I know Kiki did not finish that drink. I just want to let y'all know that's alcohol abuse. Kiki, unless you slurp that drink down, I'm real mad at you that you didn't finish that drink. Okay, if somebody gonna, fuss you out and walk off, you drink that alcohol, okay? You drink it all. Take it back like a shot if you need to. And maybe that's what she did. I was just mad at that thing too. I be noticing these little things like that. Like I know she didn't finish that drink that fast. So anyway, she get outside. She walks up, and Leticia admits, well, I'm on the phone venting to Kimmy. Kiki is like, oh, so you mad at me for talking to people about you, but you out here talking to people about me. Oh, oh, okay. Okay, it all makes sense now. All right. And Kiki says, that's all you ever do is get up and run. And Leticia's like, yes, girl, I am running from this conversation because I have had this conversation with you for hours upon hours. I have shed tears. I have cried. I have done everything that I could do. And all I could think of to myself was, OMG, I feel so bad for you, Leticia, because you have had to have endless conversations about whatever you had told Melody and Martel about your cousin business. Meanwhile, you keep wanting to go down the same path with Kimmy last season about every little thing that Kimmy could do wrong to you from years and years and years ago. So now that you are just getting back what you have been dishing out, you can't take it. Now, I like Leticia. I do. I actually do. But I'm just like, you kind of getting a taste of your own medicine, Leticia. I mean, just a little bit, So it's funny to watch. Anyway, Kiki just says, girl, I just want you to acknowledge my feelings. I don't care if you have acknowledged them 50 times before. I need you to acknowledge them now. Because what I'm really trying to do is divert the attention away from the fact that you are calling me out for talking about you behind your back. Honestly, I didn't really feel like what Kiki had said was that bad, but I just feel like because of the contentiousness between Leticia and Melody, I feel like anything that Kiki says, even regarding Leticia's name, is going to be taken bad by Leticia, especially with the way that Kimmy, the new bone collector, okay, has taken that bone back to Leticia. All right. So Leticia basically tells her to let it go. Do not mention my name when I'm around. And then Kiki leaves. And then as should happen, Leticia goes back inside her restaurant. And that's the way I said it should go last week. When you have an altercation at your restaurant, at your place of business, you make that person leave. You don't leave, okay? Meanwhile, Martel goes to visit Marceau and relays that Mel didn't bring these kids to the book signing. If I hear about this book signing one more time, okay? It was not your week, man. You should have planned it on a different week. Bottom line, I don't care how much sympathy you run around trying to get from these folks, plan it on a different week next time, and then your problems are solved, okay? Because he's so sad and embarrassed by it and whatnot. He admits that he can't really talk to her via phone because I guess she not answering his calls or he don't have her number no more. I don't know. They just gotta talk via email, which he says is fine because documentation beats conversation or whatever they say. Anyway, Marceau believes that they are both using the kids as pawns. Then they talk about the wine, the Honest wine that Martel has coming out. And I was just hoping that maybe Marceau would just ask him about that builder's license, but that didn't come up. Anyway, what did come up is that they're gonna go, excuse me, to the Atlanta again. And Martel is like, well, we're just gonna go read the Bible this time. And Marceau is like, well, no, we're going to hit up the lounges. We're going to hit up the clubs in Atlanta. I can go there. I trust myself and my wife trusts me too. Leticia, you better send a spy. Just joking. Anyway, Marceau says in his confessional that he and Leticia trust each other. And honestly, my thought on the situation is this. If they like it, I love it. And that's all I can say about it. You know what I'm saying? Thus far, I have not seen a baby. None of these 20 women have come forward to my knowledge that I know of. I mean, but my ear ain't always to the streets. I mean, for the most part, my ear is in this book right here. Okay, so I really don't know. I ain't seen hide nor hair of it, but it could be out there, but I just ain't seen it yet. Okay. Anyway, Martel then gets to the real reason why he's there. He wants to buy back into Scoped, which is the group that they had started, when they was doing all the building and the progress and things like that. And I remember somebody in the comments has said something about, well, I want to see them get back to building businesses and stuff like that. Well, this is the episode for you. Okay. So, Marceau is looking at him like, I don't know about this. Because, he says, well, I'm not really the majority shareholder here, so I would have to really talk to Leticia about this, basically putting it off on her, and I don't blame him in that situation. But Marceau says maybe you and I could test doing a joint project with helping Destiny build out her salon suites. And if that goes well, then we can sort of see where that goes. So Marceau says, I'm going to talk to Leticia about it, but he's not opposed to the idea of how Martel could buy back in. But Marceau is also concerned about making the right moves for his company and his family. All right. Because as you guys may recall, I believe that Melody and Martel had to back out of the Scolt business when they were going through their marital issues, and Melody no longer wanted to be a part of it. Okay. So we get a very interesting scene with Destiny. Okay. Destiny is meeting with Maurice to discuss her credit. Well, before we get there was a scene with Kimmy and Kimmy and Maurice. Maurice is hanging up a television or something like that. Kimmy relays Leticia's frantic, shaking phone call about Kiki chasing her outside of her restaurant, and all they was just doing the arguing and stuff like that. And basically, Martel is like, "Listen, that's gonna have to be a conversation between Miss Wanda, Kiki, and Leticia." But he said, "You keep it up and you're gonna be involved in it too." And sure enough, she is, because quiet is kept. Now, y'all know I love me some Kimmy, but Kimmy is definitely the bone collector this season. If I don't know if y'all had noticed that, and by bone collector, I mean, ooh, let me go tell the other person what's really happening behind the scenes so everybody can know what's going on. She's making the show move in her own Kimmy style way. So, like, when Kimmy does something, because she does it with so much class and dignity, you really almost can't tell that, girl, you just carried that bone. I see it. I see you. Go ahead and do your job, girl. Do it. Do it well. Anyway, Destiny is meeting with Maurice to discuss her credit. I am going to tell you guys the truth. This scene resonated with me so much. I have spoken with you guys on my personal channel about my own, and I'll talk about my credit. I'll do a video on my credit journey and what I did to take it from to slump to slamming. Okay. But it was interesting to me to hear Destiny be so transparent about her experience with her divorce, because we definitely didn't hear about how the divorce happened. But it's nice to hear about, it's not nice, but it is nice to see that she is being so transparent and so open about how the divorce has impacted her financially. And I have got to tell you guys, when you open yourself up to that level of transparency, people can take it in a variety of different ways. I know that the community here, when we talk about it, but I feel like when we talk about these types of things, we understand the level of transparency and how deep a person has to go in order to be that transparent. Because a lot of times when you talk about stuff like that, like, having bad credit or recovering from financial, ruin, it leaves yourself open to people talking about you negatively and whatnot. But on the reality is that most of us in life at some point in time or another will have, or possibly may be in currently, a situation that is very, very similar. Okay. And I have definitely heard about how divorce can definitely have a negative impact on people's credit. So she's really wanting to get back to where she was. She even admits to him that she was on public assistance. So there was a lot that was apparently going on with Destiny over the past several months. And again, it just spoke volumes to me that she was able to be so transparent about it. It really, really resonated with me. And I just thought that this is the type of television that I want to see. I do like a little bit of drama, but I also like real life stories as well. He asked about Madani. She says it's been opening and closing and opening and closing. And he suggests that she see if she can use the building for alternate uses. Like, the whole salon suites that she's been talking to Marceau about building out and doing like a grand opening. She's decided to do a content room and a conference room. and she's paying for these personal, she's paying for her business stuff with her personal savings, which is not good. Maurice then goes into a little bit of a messy territory because he's like, well, you know, friendship is a village. I heard your village ain't doing too well. Tell me about you and Melody. I've heard that that you guys are not on a good foot. Give me the tea, okay? And so she says she didn't understand how deep the issues with Melody were for Melody. He feels like Melody is holding Destiny to an unfair standard for saying that you should foster a relationship with Leticia, but then getting angry with Destiny for fostering that relationship. I think the key that he is missing there, though, is that I don't think that Melody was anticipating that Destiny and Leticia would commiserate about her. That's where I think the issue lies. Bottom line. And I felt in that conversation like Maurice was trying to lead her down the path of recognizing that Leticia is probably the better friend for her. I don't know if I was just misreading that, but it felt like he was leading her down that path. But I could be wrong. Or maybe he was just pointing out what he felt like was the obvious, right? Because I mean, I didn't feel like from the clips that I've seen and what we've seen so far that Melody did not want Destiny to be friends with her. I just think that she did not want Destiny and Leticia to be talking negatively about her. That's the issue at hand. Okay. Anyway, Destiny is now wondering if Leticia was right about Melody not being a good friend to people. And we're going to see how that turns out in just a minute. Maurice and Leticia are having some late night coffee with probably a little sprinkle or something in it, you know. And I was wondering how y'all drinking coffee this late. I will be up all night. Okay. If I have coffee, I have to have it early in the morning. I'm talking like super early, and I can't have it after 12. If I have it after 12, I'm not sleeping tonight. Okay. Or I'm gonna need to take me something to go to sleep. Go figure. And I digress. I don't know why I be telling y'all so much of my personal issues, but why not? Okay. Anyway, she wants her mom to come in and shadow Marceau and the kitchen manager to help her learn more about the food truck business because this food truck business sounds like it's about to happen. Okay. He relays that Martel stopped by and wants to buy back into Scout. And she thinks Martel and Marceau bring out the best in each other, but she don't trust Martel. And she thinks that because at one point in time, he was being persuaded to try to destroy their marriage. And even though he apologized, she still feels like he made those moves himself. She can forgive him, but she does not want to put him back in her life again in that way. And to be quite honest with you, I honestly really don't blame her. I don't blame her. Don't feel judged. I don't blame her for that because I feel like, the things that Martel has said and sort of insinuated about Marceau did really have an effect on their relationship. So I just kind of feel like I wouldn't want him to be back in our business either. Because I mean, for the most part, I mean, he ain't really seemed like he had done too much good business, especially during the past the past year or so. He's just getting back to the point where it feels like he's getting back to business and focusing on business again. But to me, a key indicator about him mishandling business was not scheduling that book signing on a week where he had the kids. It is not to me about the kids. It is more about managing your schedule so that you know that you have the kids when you need them for the business. So to me, that's an example of how he has not yet learned how to manage business. And so that would be a red flag for me because what Martel is trying to do is make it a red flag about Melody for not allowing for the kids to come. but I really feel like it's poor planning on his and their part for not planning it on a week where he knew absolutely I got them. They here. Boom. Okay. But that's just me and how I'm reading into the business. Okay. Um, Marceau agrees with his wife. He doesn't want to risk his family. He suggests that, that they work on the Destiny Salon project. And I say, this is a good idea. Test the waters first to see what you can do with Martel and how he works with working on Destiny Salon Suites. How fast does this get built? Can they still, find a common ground to work together? And then maybe begin to work on one-off projects. And then maybe after about a year or 2 or 3, then talk about maybe buying back in to really gauge how serious he is. But for me, if I were Marceau, what I would tell him to do is I will not consider you buying back into Sculpt until you prove how serious you are about this business and get your builder's license. That's what I would do. Okay. All right. So now we get to the ponderosa of the episode. Okay. And I fully expect for the comments to be in a shambles as we go through this discussion. Okay. But a discussion we must have. All right. Now, Melody and Destiny meet for coffee since their last brunch, and we learn that they have not talked. To catch you guys up, if you don't recall, everything happened at the reunion. Melody was confronted with the idea that Destiny did not know where their friendship was, and she felt surprised on camera. Leticia felt like Melody had tried to destroy her marriage, and Melody was not a good friend. Carlos King asked Destiny what she thought about this and did she agree. At that point in time, Destiny said, I don't know. Following the reunion, Leticia and Destiny were in a hotel room and they were commiserating and venting and talking, I guess, about Melody. Melody was in the adjoining room and she could hear their conversation. Destiny feels like Melody was eavesdropping at the door with her ear to the door and like this and trying to hear what was being said. Melody feels like she could hear them through the walls and she went to knock on the door and she confronted them and told them that they needed to watch what they were talking about because she could hear them in the next room. Melody and Destiny had brunch thereafter where they somewhat maybe squashed the issue or it was thought to be squashed, but it really wasn't squashed. So that is the backstory for anybody who is confused about this. So they're meeting for this Ponderosa. Destiny says she doesn't know what's going on and she's been hearing from mutual friends that they have issues. Melody says she only talks to people when people ask about the situation and she gives very vague responses. Now, apparently, there was a project that Destiny was working on with a mutual friend of Melody's. Now, that person ended up stopping work on the project because, according to Destiny, she didn't want Destiny and Melody's issues. And let me put the banner up. She didn't want Melody and Destiny's issues to overshadow the business project. So the lady pulled out of the project, which I'm thinking maybe stopped the bag. I don't know who the friend was. What I do know is that, and it could have been Stormy. I don't know. I mean, and hopefully we'll find out. Okay. But that's a good observation. So, Melody said she hadn't talked to Destiny a while and she's not going to take being responsible for any business project that Destiny has lost out on. She's not going to own that. So she's saying she had nothing to do with that. Destiny in her confessional says that Melody is a master manipulator. Okay. Which I felt like she should have said in the moment. because I feel like that's one of those statements. It's a power statement. And I feel like that's one of those things that you have to say with your chesticles. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to call her a master manipulator, say it in the moment. But sometimes the comeback don't always come to you right in the heat of the argument. So I'm gonna give that to her. But here's and I was kind of balanced with the two of them because I'm like, I feel like y'all just ain't communicating right? But this is where I felt Melody did drop a little bit of a bomb on her because I felt like this as I was watching last season. Melody hits her with this. You were able to take time away and process whatever you needed to process in your personal life and not share things. But when I do that, that's a problem. Basically, what she said is you were able to do whatever you needed to do with your marriage and not share any of it on camera or say anything about it. And I don't know anything about what's going on. But when I step back and take a moment for myself, it's a problem. Melody admits that she did pull away, but didn't know Destiny felt the way she felt until they were on stage in front of everyone else. But she says that Destiny went through a whole divorce, signed the divorce papers and everything, and Melody didn't know nothing about it. But that wasn't a problem for Destiny. So it seems as though for Melody, she feels like, and I'm only guessing because this has how I felt as a viewer. We see everybody else's marital issues and we hear about all of their issues. But when it came down time for Destiny, and I felt like Melody felt some type of way last season about the fact that she did not know that Destiny was going through a divorce and that she had signed the divorce papers at all. Okay, so I feel like that was the beginning of their issues. Toya says if Melody interfered with that business deal, she's not a good friend, manipulative friendship. Well, she says that she didn't, so we don't know. It's hard. I mean, we can only go by at this point what people are saying, but I don't know. Okay, so when Melody said that, I was like, well, ooh, okay, that is a pretty good point because I could also understand from Destiny's perspective, and I did ask Melody about this when I interviewed her because I think for me, maybe, and this is where I felt like communication is so key for friendships. If Destiny is going through a situation where she is, going through public assistance and stuff like that, she probably at that point needs a friend more than she may want to admit. And maybe she felt like for some reason she couldn't call Melody. I don't know. Melody is bringing up text messages where she indicates that she was checking up on her. But I will tell you that for me, I have had issues with friends because I have some friends who are phone conversation friends. And I'm not a big phone conversation person. I wish that I was more of a phone conversation person. I'm just not that person. However, if you need me, okay, I will pick up the phone and call you if you tell me, "Hey, I have a problem. I'm there. I'm heading to your house," or something like that. So I feel like what we're seeing here is a miscommunication of friendship needs, right? Melody, I felt like needs space when she's done filming. I feel like Destiny needed maybe Melody because she was going through the public assistance, this, that, and the third, but maybe for some reason didn't feel like she could call her or the text messaging wasn't working for her. I just feel like they lines across for some reason. But ultimately, I think what took things down the wrong road because as Melody is bringing up these text messages, Destiny is rolling her eyes, and I'm like, oh Lord, when this starts happening, the conversation is going to become passive aggressive. Melody's telling her, don't be rude. Destiny is rolling her eyes. Destiny's saying, you don't tell me what to do. At that point, this is not a productive conversation, and I know it is not going anywhere. Okay. I'm gonna read a couple of super chats real quick. We have one from Tines who says, Melody had a very valid point, in my opinion. Love you, Richie. Thank you. I felt the same way, especially about when she mentioned the divorce stuff. I was like, oh, she kind of did like pull a mic drop out on that one, because I had not thought back to that, but it was frustrating for me as a viewer. And I kept complaining about it last season. Like, you went through a whole divorce. Nobody knew anything about it. I mean, the streets were talking, but we didn't know. And we want to know. Listen, we're interested in Destiny. We want to see she's on the show. We want to see what's up with her. We want to know what's going on, And when you don't give us that your story, it's hard to really connect. And so I can only imagine as a friend how you feel like, yo, like, I don't know about that. Like, that would bother me too. King Torres says, Melody coming off a villain this season. She's giving Giselle, Kenya, Lisa Rinna vibes. I don't necessarily feel like she's giving Giselle, Kenya, Lisa Rinna vibes, because I kind of feel like I feel like the three of them do very different things on their shows, but I can see what you're saying in terms of just the overall villain type of role. I feel as though both Melody and Destiny are coming from two different perspectives, and I feel like they are unable to meet in the middle because they are both hurt by things that the other has done. For instance, okay, Melody feels like Destiny should not be talking to Martel all the time. But Martel was friends with Destiny first. Destiny makes a good point. When people are going through divorces, it's hard because friendships aren't always so easy to divorce from, right? And Melody's perspective is, listen, like, you're my girl, so why would you even be close to somebody who is trying to destroy me? But that's got to be a difficult place for Destiny, because Destiny is also, she was friends with Martel first, right? And I think the issue is, once Leticia said on that reunion, you were trying to destroy my marriage, after the two of them had tried to make amends, and then Destiny and she had a conversation venting about the situation with Melody. I think from that point forward, based on, I can only tell you from my conversation with Melody in the interview, that was the moment that turned Melody off from her friendship with Destiny. That to me is it was the moment. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because sometimes an off-camera moment can easily divide the audience, because we don't know what was said, which makes us equally as passionate about it, because we don't know. We can only infer from the conversations that the two of them are having. We don't know how bad whatever Destiny and Leticia were saying was, because that's in the perception of Melody, and it's also in the perception of Destiny. So it's so difficult, but it's intriguing to watch because we don't know exactly what was said. So as I'm watching it, I'm just trying to I'm literally dissecting this argument from both sides, and I'm like, the two of you are just like so there is so much anger and hurt between the two of them. I don't see them coming back from this anytime soon, especially with the way the situation ended. Okay. So they get into Destiny having conversations about Melody with Leticia. They get into Destiny and Martel's friendship and things that he was doing to her on social media. Then they get into Leticia saying Melody is not a good friend. And when Carlos asked Destiny, "Do you agree?" Destiny said, "I don't know." And then Destiny said, "Well, that's between y'all." But the problem that I have with that for Destiny was it was between Leticia and Melody, but Carlos asked you what your opinion was. And if you felt like Melody was a good friend, then you should have said, "Well, she has been a good friend to me. I'm just confused about where we are today." But the fact is that when he did ask you that question, you said, "I don't know." And if that's your truth, that's your truth. But it did not help the situation. Okay. King Taurus says, "When you interviewing Wanda so we can get to the Can y'all imagine me and Miss Wanda having a good old Ponderosa? Can you imagine? I think I might need a drink for that one. If Miss Wanda ever want to have a little chatterization, I'm down for it. I am down for it. Okay. I am down for it. Um, To be quite honest with you, and I know somebody had mentioned, Mel being the villain, or maybe given a villain edit. I don't really see Mel as a villain. I don't see Destiny as a villain. I see with this show, the core women involved, I see them having issues, which is something that I would prefer to see versus having a villain who is trying to do things to make TV happen, right? And we know who those people are their respective shows. And while they may do their jobs, like the AKA Lisa Rennas, the AKA, I'm not going to even name any other names, but we know who those people are. It's less interesting to us because it doesn't read as real on the screen. These two are friends who are having real issues. This is reminiscent to me of, maybe it's not so deep, but it reminded me of that argument with Sheree and Nene and they were talking about Tyrone. It reminded me of that sit down that Phaedra and Candy had before they really, really fell out. Because there was a moment when Melody said there were things that I did not talk about, and the scene cut. It was a quick cut to Destiny's reaction shot, and I wanted to know, in my mind, I was like, was Melody saying that there was things about your marriage that I did not say for your sake? And they cut that off, but I couldn't tell. So I don't really know, but it really gave me that scene with Phaedra and Candy, and they sat down and they had their drinks and they was drinking that water. Y'all remember what I'm talking about? That's what it reminded me of. Anyway, Destiny feels like Melody was listening in outside the door, eavesdropping on their conversation. Melody is just like done with the situation because she feels like, Destiny's rolling her eyes and, all kinds of other things like that. And Melody basically tells her, "Listen, okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. And that's it. I'm tired of having this conversation." And so Destiny's like, "Well, I will be praying for you from afar." And Melody's like, "I don't want those prayers because I don't know what those prayers are for. But if you are praying anything negative on me, all those prayers are coming right back to you." And so she heads out the door saying she don't need what was this? What was the statement? She says she's got coins to make and not friends to fake. And she drives right on off into the sunset. And that's how you make an exit, people. See, Leticia, that's what I was trying to tell you last week. When you want to make an exit, what you do is you don't call Kimmy shaking. Kimmy, I'm shaking. I'm shaking from this argument with Kiki. What you do is you get in the car and you turn that ignition and you turn that car phone on. And then you say, "Kimmy, I'm shaking. I'm shaking." And then you drive off into the night, tires screeching in the background to give an audible sound effect for the cameraman so that we can know that as you swerved off ever so slightly, we knew that you meant it when you drove off. And that is what Melody gave us tonight when she stormed out of the restaurant, put her coat on, gave her speech outside of the restaurant, said she has coins to make and not friends to fake, gets in her car, storms off in the middle of the daylight, leaving Destiny to get up and walk out on her own. That, my friends, is how you make an exit. Leticia, we're going to work with you because next argument you have, I want to see dramatics when you walk out of the scene, okay? I want to see dramatics. Don't give your opponent the opportunity to come outside and catch you talking on the phone about them. No, that's not how we do it. That's not what we're gonna do. No. No. Okay. So anyway, y'all know I'm a mess. I love this show. I do. That's really all I got for y'all tonight with this review. I just want to say thank y'all for participating. I mean, listen, I know we on the late night creep, but we on that late night creep. Whose side are you guys on? Are you on Leticia's side or are you on Kiki's side? Kiki, do you love me? Are you on should Martel be allowed back into Sculpt? First of all, I don't think so. I don't think he should be allowed back into the Sculpt until he gets that builder's license. And listen, if I can go through the stress of this real estate, you can go through the stress of that builder's license, okay? Whose side are you on in the Destiny versus Melody situation? Do you think that they can come back from this? You know, we know that there's a girls' trip coming to Utah, and we know there's a boys' trip coming up to the Atlanta. Who do you think all the ladies are going to be able to go on this trip and be able to get along? I don't, okay? And I wonder who gonna be down to the Atlanta, all right? That's what I want to know. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all for now. Make sure you guys keep it locked onto the channel. Y'all know I love y'all more than I love Devil's Food Cake. And I will catch you guys in the next video.